Okay, here is our one-on-one of how to work with an X-acto blade in the studio. Okay, step one, after you've already given me your ID, okay, you have to leave your ID card, right? After you've left your ID card and you have chosen an X-acto blade, all right, we immediately will change the blade out. Why? It looks like it's good. It has a nice point on it, yes, but you don't know how long it was used in its previous period, as to whether it did a lot of cutting in cardboard or wood or foam board. And so the blade itself can get really worn down, even on the sides from cutting, okay? So what we end up doing is we need to remove this safely. To do that, we go to the back of the blade. The straight part is the back of the blade, all right? Not this part, that's the blade. We're looking at the back of the actual container, all right? So this part here is called the ferrule, and I'm going to put my fingers on the back of the ferrule and on the back straight part of the blade, right? And then I'm going to twist the handle. I'll try to get a better view for you here. I'm twisting the handle to loosen the blade so that the blade can come out, okay? But I did that by holding the back of the blade and this metal ferrule part while I twisted, okay? I'm gonna take that blade out, and I have a little trash can here. It's in a big koozie, all right? It says X-acto trash on it, all right? And I'm gonna place that blade inside of that trash can because we never, never, never wanna put a blade inside of the trash can or a trash bag. It can damage anybody who's trying to remove our trash at the end of the day, and or cut through the bag, and then the bag of stuff falls out. There is a small box of spare blades in the X-acto box. You have to open it up and then carefully remove yourself a fresh blade, okay? And again, I normally look at holding it from this straight part, the flat part, not the diagonal, right? Okay, so we're now gonna do the same thing we did to get it out. I'm going to hold the back of it. I'm putting it inside the little slot, right? So here I go again. I'm holding the back side and the metal piece, and now I'm righty-tighty. I'm twisting that so it's tighter and it's ready to use, okay? Now, how to cut. Okay, I'm gonna put these away here. To cut, you always need to have some kind of a green mat on your table. Never, never, never cut directly on the table. And the green mats are found inside door number 3 and 4. You look down and they're on a lower shelf, all right? Whenever we were cutting anything such as the wood pieces, or if we're cutting this kind of piece of wood, this thin little balsa wood, or even if we're cutting a piece of paper or foam board, all right, we're always going to place it onto that surface. If you're making a straight cut, it is very wise to use a metal ruler. There are metal rulers in doors number 3, but there are also some metal rulers next to the sink in some big tubes. But you always want to make sure that your hand is on the far side of where you're cutting, okay? You don't want to be right over the top of the blade or get too close to the edge that you're cutting. So my hand is going to be way over here while I am then cutting with the blade up against the X-acto, all right, to trim something off. Do not hold the blade like this and cut. It's not a mat knife or a carpet knife, so don't do that, okay? Hold it like you would a pencil, and you will get a better cut if you hold like that, all right? Other things, do not store the blade when you're not in use like this, all right? That ends up dulling or breaking the tip of it, which then just tears through whatever you're trying to cut later, or it could leave that tip into the mat and create a shard that ends up hurting somebody if they swipe their hands across it, okay? So do not do that. Just lay it flat on the table when you're not in use, all right? Thicker things, such as pieces of wood, need to be cut with more than one swipe through them. So if you're cutting and trimming an edge off of something, again, I'm holding my ruler on here nice and tight. Actually, let me cut so it's going towards you here. So I'm holding the ruler nice and tight while I am then coming along the edge of my ruler on the other side. And with a fresh blade, oftentimes you can get through on the first swipe, but don't assume it, okay? So hold your position and make sure that you've done it more than once so that it does get a clean cut for you, all right? When working with some of these balsa sticks, some of the sticks are fatter than others. So some of the skinnier ones will be a little bit easier to cut through, but I would suggest, if you're working with any of these, to give yourself a measurement or a mark where you want to cut, all right? And again, I would hold, you know, a larger portion of it. And with this, you're going to just merely kind of push and then turn it and then push a little bit more in that same spot. All right, I'm gonna do it on all four sides. Pushing. Again, I'm using the pencil hold method here. All right, and then I'm pushing. And you'll get pretty darn close to getting all the way through, but this guy, looky there, okay? That's when you can take a piece of sandpaper if you have a rough edge on it, and the sandpaper itself can start to smooth out any rough spots. You can put the sandpaper down and run over it, and it will smooth off the edge that you cut. This works good for some small and medium sticks. For the larger sticks, such as the 1/2-inch ones, okay, you make a mark, and you'll probably need to use my slightly larger little saw, and I can show you how to utilize the little mini saw to cut through some of the chunkier pieces. So for foam board or for thin balsa pieces, you always want to swipe more than once, okay? Review, you don't want to have your hand anywhere near where you're cutting, so you're holding your ruler again, so you're holding the ruler back here and cutting up against that edge, right? And then we are not going to stick these into the mat because it breaks the tip of them, right? As soon as we get them, we're gonna immediately change out and get a new blade, right? We're disposing of the old blade in the koozie trash can, all right? And then when you are all done, you will give me back the X-acto blade, and then you will get your ID back. Woohoo, okay? So this is how we're able to kind of know who's working with an X-acto blade, and that we have all of them back so that they don't get left around the room and somebody from another class plays with one of these and gets injured, all right? So you treat this with respect. You do not share your X-acto blade. It is yours for the period. If someone says, hey dude, I want to borrow it for a second, nope, they need to come and check out their own, all right? Because if they get injured on your watch, you both get jugged, okay? You need to check out your own X-acto. The end.